Hello, Facebook Live. What's happening, everybody? It is 11 a.m. on the 22nd of February. 11 a.m. if you're 11 a.m. if you're tuning in on the live. Drop a comment, hashtag live. I want to talk about something that is sort of unsanitary that some chefs do, and it drives me crazy. I've seen chefs do this over the years. When I worked at other places, and especially when you start working at big places, big hotels, that there's 150 cooks in the kitchen, it can get pretty, well, I'll talk about that. If you're tuning in live, just drop a comment, hashtag live. And I also want to make an apology today. I went on live yesterday saying that this week's $9.99 special is going to be brisket. So I don't have enough brisket to even probably go 2 days right now, with the amount of specials we've been selling, our $9.99s. And I cannot get enough brisket in enough time to make it through the week. So I'm going to put brisket off for a week or so. So I apologize for that. If you're expecting the brisket based on my Facebook Live yesterday, we're not doing that. We're going to do salmon. Somebody asked me the other day to do a fish special because it's Lent now, and I said, perfect. We've done many fish specials in the past, and we'll do another one this week. So the salmon this week is $9.99. Our filet of salmon, wild coho salmon with the mustard dill sauce, $9.99. It's usually $16.99 or $17.99. $9.99 this week to go all week long, starting tonight. So that's exciting. Really good. I eat that salmon about once a week. It's an amazing, amazing dish. And it's wild coho salmon. It's not farm raised. It's from the Pacific Ocean. It's from Alaska. One line, one hook, not even net caught. So that's the story with that. I apologize, and we'll get the brisket special out soon, hopefully. The supplier that we get it from, grass-fed brisket, didn't have enough in stock. So I have to wait until probably next week to get it. Which, if I explain our brisket to you, it's an all-week process to smoke it, sous vide it, package it, reheat it. It's an all-week process. You can watch yesterday's Facebook Live. I'm not going to go over that. So that's the story with that. This week we are going to do a ground beef sale because I can't do the brisket. I said, well, let's do a ground beef sale. So Sir William Angus, which is in northern Dutchess County, it's in the Hudson Valley. Sir William Angus. They do Angus cattle and a mix of Hereford and Angus. That's where we get our ground beef from right now, and it's usually $9.99 a pound. If you go online right now, it's like $11 if you go places. The best price you're gonna find is just over $9 a pound for it. If you do find it like on a farm market or something. It's local cattle raised in the Hudson Valley, raised on pasture. It is fed grain. It's not grass fed. And has meat, eats grass and grain, but we can't advertise grass-fed because as soon as an animal eats grain, it's no longer grass-fed or classified as grass-fed. It's pasture-raised at this point. So we're selling it this week for $7.99 a pound. $7.99 a pound this week for locally raised Angus and Hereford beef, ground beef. It's really, really great deal. So we're gonna do that all week. The email's coming out momentarily. My assistant's working on that right now, and the graphic arts on it. I gave him all the copy of everything to say, and he's working on that right now. All right, so what is disgusting, or what is something that it's impossible to this is unsanitary and disgusting what certain chefs do. And what prompted me this morning was finding this cake. This is a cake tester. So looks like a needle, but it's actually a cake tester. And this is what you stick into cakes and pull out to see if it's clean or not, to see if your cake is done. But a lot of chefs don't use this to test cakes. They use it for something totally different. They're testing something, but they're not testing cakes. I had a chef in here about 10 years ago who came in and had these. I looked at him and I said, you're not going to do what I think you are with those, are you? And he goes, I said, no, you're not. You're not using those. We don't bake cakes here. We bake brownies here. Wally bakes the brownies. Wally's in control of brownies. I said, I know what you're using this for. You're not going to use this in my kitchen. So as a young chef apprentice working in all these larger hotels like Mohonk, Greenbrier, the Broadmoor. I mean, literally at the Greenbrier, we had 150 cooks in the kitchen, 150 cooks. There's an executive chef, an executive sous chef, a chef de cuisine, and then 4 sous chefs, and you have a saucier, and you have a morning saucier, a PM saucier, and you have so many levels, and then you have all these apprentices running around. A lot of times chefs don't get along that well, especially in the kitchen. They like to blame each other, like to criticize. They like to do a lot of criticizing. Chefs love to do a lot of criticizing in the same kitchen. It's crazy. And it's just because everybody's been taught different, right? It's just not that they've been taught wrong. They've just been taught different things, different techniques. I mean, I remember really as a young chef, here at the Neville, when I worked at the Neville way back, I remember two of the lunch guys just doing it all down like almost fist fight because why'd you add cream to my sauce? Like the sauce was too thick to begin with. Why are you adding more cream to it? It's on the line, and it was like you don't do that, and they were going back and forth with each other, crazy. So this right here, this cake, and I found this thing this morning. When I was going through and looking for, I was cleaning up a couple of burners in the kitchen this morning, so I needed to take the burner cleaner, which is this device that punches out any debris that's in the holes of the gas burners so the flame burns better. And going through the tools in the toolbox, I found this, and I was like, man, this would make a really good subject today for a video. So, cake tester. What do chefs use cake testers for besides testing cakes? And they do this with thermometers as well. So when they cook a piece of beef, a steak, or if they cook salmon or a piece of fish, they cook something that needs to take a temperature like medium rare, or whatever, they take this and they simply pop it into the burger or into the salmon, and they'll let it sit there for a minute or so, and then they take this. Some chefs will put it against their wrist, right, to feel the temperature. Very sensitive part of the wrist right here, to feel the temperature of what the steak is cooked, right? Sensitive area. But what's more of a sensitive area than that? Underneath your lip. It is surprising how many chefs I've seen do this. They'll take that, stick this into meat, pull it out, and then stick it to the bottom of their lip. Bottom of their lip, right there, to be able to tell if the steak is cooked medium rare, or rare. And there's some chefs that this is the way they learned how to cook. This is it. This is what they did. Some chefs learned how to cook, stick your finger in the sauce and lick your finger and then keep working. That's also a common thing. And that right there, if you want to see me pissed off in the kitchen, and anybody will tell you, if you want to see me pissed off in the kitchen, do that. Stick your finger into a sauce and go to taste it. My staff will tell you that you'll never see me so mad. I get extremely pissed. I will downright yell and scream if somebody does that in my kitchen. I get so offended and so pissed, and it's so unsanitary. We buy tons of tasting spoons. We have tasting spoons everywhere in the kitchen. We have big ones, we have small ones. All my cooks will tell you over the years, tasting spoon. Sometimes every now and then you get a new guy in, and that's just common. That you're used to doing this. And I've seen worked at some really nice places where they do that. They stick their finger in and taste it, and then they keep going. They don't wash their hands. Well, this is the other unsanitary thing that some of these guys do. Not a lot, especially now. During COVID, I would assume that this stuff is really not happening in a lot of kitchens anymore, but I don't know. I know it doesn't happen in my kitchen, but this chef walked in 10 years ago and unpacked his tools and had these, and I said, you're not using these for what I think you're going to use them for, because you're not baking cakes here. Wally's one who bakes the brownies, and you don't need that. But that's how. And he was like, It's like, no, that's not how you're gonna do it here. Not how you're gonna do it at all. I'll stick it on my. I said, nope, not at all. That's not how you do it. So yeah. So the other use for a cake tester. Now, sometimes people will do spoons too. They'll dip spoons into sauce or something and check and see if it's hot or touch things. It's shocking. It's shocking what chefs have gotten away with. So certain cooks have gotten away with for years. So yeah, that's the story with that. Hopefully, you think the nicer places you go that won't happen. That's what the thought process is, right? I'm paying a lot of money for dinner, this and that. I've seen some really bad cooks work at some really nice places. And I've seen some really great cooks work at some really bad places. So you just, sometimes has nothing to do with the actual standard of the actual operation. It's what that cook has been doing for years upon years. I was talking to to another well-known restaurateur in the Hudson Valley just this last week. Very successful. And him and I were talking about the lack of qualified staff. A lot of staff members just come in, cooks. They call themselves chefs. They throw that term around very loosely. They've worked at a place for 2-3 years. They've done nothing but open bags of jalapeno poppers and maybe make a cheese sauce here and there and cook pasta and grill burgers. And they come in and they want all this outrageous money because they're a chef and they worked here and they ran this kitchen. And when it comes to using salt and pepper, when it comes to searing something like salmon properly, roasting something properly, knowing how to cook a vegetable properly, they have no clue, no idea, but they just have this different experience, and they're being very misled of what they're really worth in other restaurants, and it's very sad to see. I was always taught, my younger days as an apprentice. I happened to be a natural at cooking, and people loved what I did, and I was always able to get jobs. And there was only one job I never got that I interviewed for. One job that I never got, and I actually asked them. I asked them afterwards. I said just for feedback. I really want to know, why I wasn't hired. And they said to me, "Well, Marcus, you're too qualified. We didn't want to hire you and have you go somewhere else a year later. We needed, the position we were hiring for, the executive step position we were hiring for was, something that we need somebody here for 5 years, 7 years, and you're young, you have an amazing resume, and you're probably going to be easy to walk out of here in 6 months or a year and find a job that pays double." And that job was local. That job was in Kingston at Wiltwick Country Club. When we moved back from Colorado, that was one of the places I'd interviewed, and I was like, oh boy, this would be great to be close to Ellenville and this and that, and they didn't hire me. So that's I guess not for a bad reason, but for I understood their logic. This was before we opened Aroma Time, but I was taught as a young chef, do your job. Diligent, respect. I was telling my staff the other day, our team members the other day, a story that back when I worked at the Greenbrier, Jamie and I listened to a lot of really motivational things, and there was it was Bradley and Ed Milet were talking about on Bradley's podcast about how employees that go above and beyond get rewarded. Right, so any employee that goes above and beyond in organizations, if you're in the right organization, will get rewarded. So I told a story. We sent a different podcast out to them to listen to, just for personal growth, but this podcast, and I told them a story. When I worked at the Greenbrier in West Virginia, 150 cooks. There were 150 cooks, and I remember my first 2 weeks there, the chef was complaining how the walk-in was a disaster and nobody was doing anything about it. And with 150 cooks, it's easy to do the blame game, right? So I said to the chef that was in at the time, Peter, and I said, I'll stay after off the clock and clean the walk-in. He goes, I said, yeah, I'll stay after off the clock. I don't need to be on the clock. What's it going to take me? 20 minutes, 30 minutes to clean the walk-in, organize it? Throw some old stuff out that's moldy in there or whatever, rewrap something, relabel it. I said, I'll stay. I'm new to West Virginia. I don't have any friends yet. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? So I offered to do that. One other person stayed and did that with us, and the chef even stayed and did that with us. And within a couple of weeks of me just going above and beyond, I actually got transferred to the tavern room, which was our fine dining dome service dining room, which is where a lot of the people wanted to go cook, because that was the high-end restaurant. That was the creme of the crop of the Greenbrier, was the tavern room, and that's where all the fancy ingredients went. If you got white truffles, they went there. If you got this, that went. It typically went to that dining room, small dining room. They do 90 covers, dome service, and everybody's trying to fight for a position down there. And I was sent down there. They saw I was going above and beyond. There's not many people that go above and beyond anymore. We're fortunate to have an amazing staff that truly care about our restaurant. We're very blessed. And when people stay here for a long time, there's just a great equation. By the way, today is Michelle's birthday, who works for us in the kitchen. She's our chef in the kitchen. She's been with us for 3 years. So she's been with us a while, so it's her birthday today. But yeah, I don't know why I got off on this tangent. I was talking about these. cake testers, what chefs do unsanitary things with, how they check temperatures. They pop it in. If you missed it, this cake testers for cakes. I found one this morning in our toolbox that I was getting a little device for to clean out burners in the kitchen. And I saw this, and 10 years ago, a chef showed up with a couple of these in his toolbox. He took out his knives, and I said, "You're not doing with what I know you're not going to do it. I think you're going to do with those." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "You're not using those to test meat." Because certain chefs have a bad habit. This is what the salt are bad habits of sticking this into a piece of salmon, piece of beef, or a burger, and then taking it out and either putting it onto their wrist because that's sensitive right there, or they'll take it and put it right underneath their chin. So they'll stick it into the meat, put it underneath their chin, then they'll take this and put it in a hot water bath, sanitize it. But it's just the concept of doing that. It's just unsanitary for me and disgusting. And then they'll take this again, and the next piece of meat, they'll do that again. And the chances of them maybe missing it one time, a lot of chefs will show up with like 10 of these. They'll show up with a pack because they're so cheap. They're like $5 for 10 of these. And they'll just show up, and that's what they'll just be using all night and to check temperatures. So yeah, pretty disgusting. That's it, folks. That's it for now. I have to get out and do a couple errands. Airbnb guest checked out yesterday. I got to go up there and restock a few things. Our Airbnb is going fantastic. If anybody's looking to host any kind of wedding, need to do a wedding, micro wedding, smaller weddings, larger weddings. Now we can do larger weddings as of March, as long as we do some preliminary things. But realistically, most people book weddings. If you're booking a wedding now, you're not booking one for March, unless it's something like, super important. You got to get married now. Most people are booking weddings now for the fall time, for next year, where hopefully we'll have even more lenient, safe protocols for larger gatherings such as weddings. So, Jamie's dropping a comment. Wine dinner, yeah. Wine dinner tonight. 4 wines in a dish. The wines are from Keuka Lake in the Finger Lakes. Keuka Lake, Weiss Vineyards, Keuka Springs. We're supposed to be getting Domaine Le Sieur in on a delivery today. It's supposed to come in on Friday. We're not. Hopefully, Domaine Le Sieur will show up. We have some really awesome wines from the Finger Lakes. 4 wine from Keuka Lake specifically. 4 wines and a dish, $25. Gonna repeat a dish. I'm gonna do our pecorino truffle cream sauce with pasta tonight. If anybody's listening, coming to that. So we have about 6 seats left for it. We really didn't promote it that much in the last couple of weeks. So in the last 2 weeks, so we're not quite as busy as we normally are. So we have like 6 seats left tonight for that. Plus it's supposed to snow tonight, right? More snow. I heard like 1 to 3 inches. I don't know how accurate that is. It's supposed to be snowing this morning, according to my weather app. It's funny because Jamie and I have the same weather app, right? We both have iPhones. And I'm like, "Oh, it's clear till noon today." And she goes, "No, it's going to be snowing at 9. And we're looking at each other's phones. We're like, both of our apps say something different. And it takes, 20 minutes later, her app will finally update, or my app will finally update based upon hers. It's weird how that works. I guess if they have a couple different weather forecasts, they can't say that they're wrong, right? Well, we were right, but the other 2 we did were wrong. We were right. So I don't know if it's one of those things, but that's the story. So good morning to everybody tuning in. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hi, Robert's on. Robert is from my brother Bobby's Salsa. Great local company. Make some great products, sold in Adams and I believe some other stores throughout the Hudson Valley. Really awesome product. He used to give us boxes every year for our Christmas Day soup kitchen, because when you make salsa, you probably go through a couple pallets of tomatoes a week, and tomato boxes are those perfect boxes for Christmas Day soup kitchen. So I would fill my van up. I would go there once or twice in December and fill the van up with boxes. So thank you very much for that. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Calvin, Lori, Marcy, Mary, Josephine, Danny, Lynn. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. All right, folks. Hi, Ralph. Everybody else who tuned in. If I missed your name, I'm sorry. It's snowing. Is it snowing now, Robert? Robert's saying it's to snow now. Yeah, it's to snow now. It's not snowing here. One of the things, hi, Frank. Hi, Danielle. One of the things that I always look at here, I look out at the mountain here. When the clouds start coming down on the mountain, it gets foggy, I say that's when it's going to snow. But if the forecast on our phone says, oh, it's going to be snowing in a half an hour, and I'm looking at the mountain, and the mountain's clear, I'm like, it's not snowing. That's my gauge here in Ellenville, living here so long. It's an easy one just to walk out and say it's getting ready to snow, or it's not going to snow, and the app is wrong. All right, so would love to see you at the wine dinner tonight or any other time. Salmon, $9.99 all week long, closed Tuesday and Wednesdays. Check out our Wine Time Live tomorrow. We'll be doing a Wine Time Live tomorrow, a podcast. And that's it, folks. Thanks for having an amazing day, and we'll talk to you later.